Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. Another week. Another week. Another week. What the? Okay. Well, that was a little bit of an error. Sorry about that. Oh, wrong one. There we go. What's up, old man?
All right, how you doing? I'm doing great. Younger than ever.
Is that what you have to tell yourself every
No,
day?
no, that's what it
Yucky,
is. I mean,
yucky did ever. Oh, yucky did ever. I understand some people have to do that mental training to make themselves feel younger, but the body's actually a different way. You know.
no, no, the body's perfect,
Uh huh.
but the thing is, I just trying to drop myself down to a level where the younger people can understand and get good
No,
information
you're trying to drop yourself down
that
to a
I have
younger
to
level
share.
so you can be that old dude in the club where everybody's looking at you like, "Why are you here?" That's what you're trying to do. That's what you're trying to do. We see through that. We see through that.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Listen, there doing
We about to see. We about
doing
to
your
see.
electric slides and
You know what?
everything in the club.
This topic is going to show how far off the youth is to the older generation with knowledge and with wisdom and understanding.
I don't know if it's going to be how far off. It's just a matter of who uses the terminology and things like that going anymore. Because I can guarantee you, there's only one person that I know that is an Uncle Tom and this, that, and the third, and that was from the Boondocks. That's about it. That term does not get
Yeah,
used. That term does not get used
and that's
very
so,
rarely.
and it's using the wrong way. And it's using the wrong way.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'll go ahead and give you the floor.
But
So
I'm gonna educate you. I'm
uh
gonna
huh.
educate you on
Uh
that.
huh. I'll go
I'm
ahead and
about
give
to
you the
educate
floor since you seem to know
you.
so
Okay,
much, about the house versus the field. And the old slavery terms and everything like that.
that's right. Now, the house Negro, field Negro. That's been something since with slavery, and it is all based upon. It's funny, if you want to look at it, it's color of skin. The slave master slept with a slave, had a kid, lighter skin, got favor, did the work in the house, darker skin, did the work in the field. It is as simple as that, but is perpetuated to the point where it's still relevant in 2023. It's and I don't know if you understand that, but you've probably seen it, you probably experienced it, but you probably didn't even understand where it came from. Where the color of your skin determines your beauty, intelligence, and everything else. And it's sad, but that's the effect that has on till this day.
I mean,
Did you know that?
no, I told you this is going to be more of a y'all generation thing because most of these terms.
It's history. It's just, and
Hey,
you
I
living it.
understand.
You living it
I
too.
understand its history, and I know my history. But a lot of these terms that we're going to talk about and things like that, like house versus field, we don't.
That's right.
We it doesn't get used in my generation.
You
Like, don't
don't
get me
use
wrong.
it. You
Don't
just
get me.
live it. You're
I
not
mean,
using it. You just living it.
don't get me wrong. There's still the jokes about how light skinned dudes get made fun of, this, that, and the third. And I know that's a reference back to, the old and dusty, uh, which,
Mhm.
which y'all out there be talking about and everything like that. But I think the last time I've heard like any of that stuff might have been freshman year of college, 2005. That's the last. I think the last time I heard
That's
something like
sad,
that.
and that's sad, and it's so relevant that it dictates how we act and interact with each other. But like you said, you didn't really experience it or really had any thought of it until you were in college, right? Is that correct?
Well, I mean, that's the last time I've heard like the phrase used. Like
Right, right.
I really couldn't tell you like experience it firsthand because most of the light skinned people that I worked with we were in the same thing together, and they didn't get any preferential treatment like they might have gotten back in the slavery days or anything like that. So I wouldn't have been able to tell the difference between what you're describing because we're all minorities in here together. So that was basically it.
Well, yeah, but it's privileges. It's just like back in slavery when you're the field person despised the house because of privileges
Hmm.
that the house got compared to them. And then the house despised them because they got privileges, because I'm privileged. Oh, I get this, you don't get that. So I'm better than you. And this is worldwide. Color, this this demographic is worldwide. It's just not here in the US. It's in Puerto Rico, it's across the country, it's worldwide. Do you know there's an industry that's making billions of dollars for people trying to bleach their skin? I'm talking about in Africa, where you think the motherland. These people are there are some trying to bleach their skin. It's $1 billion industry because it's so ingrained in our society. It's so ingrained that the lighter your skin, the better you are. That's how slavery has has just it it's not just, oh, slavery is over, we're not going to do that again. It's generational, it's genetically involved, it's so ingrained into the society of Black people to the point where they don't even understand to love themselves for who they are.
And that may that like I said that may be true. That may be true for some of those people out there, but hey, and this may be where this generational gap may come from. But once again, I didn't encounter anybody that had any issues like that. Maybe like the somebody living not necessarily to the means, the norm or whatever, or somebody coming up out of the ghetto or something. Yeah, then maybe that you may see that a little bit more there. But like middle ground where I was at, I guess you could say middle class or whatever you want to say, however you want to say it. There wasn't a whole lot of that. Now you probably could see a difference if you were middle class going to somebody hanging out with somebody who's in upper class. They might look at you different or something like that. But typically, you didn't see a lot of that. You may have heard the jokes and things like that, but and learn the history of the jokes. Like for example, the word coon, like that's one that when I hear it, I'm just thinking about somebody who's
Negative,
still
negative, right?
no,
Negative,
well, not necessarily. I
ignorant, ignorant.
that would probably be more of the word, yeah, more so
Mhm.
ignorant than negative. Because now that I'm old, if this was asked of me maybe 10 years ago, I would have a different perspective. But now that I'm older, I kind of understand a little bit of what they're trying to do, and I think it's more so those people trying to, well, at least when I think of that word, it's the people that are still holding to those traditional South values that never really, that when they were let go, they were still trying to appease the man, even though they weren't slaves anymore. And they're basically just a Uncle Ruckus. That's what that's how I look at it. It's like, oh, back in the day, y'all
Right.
blah blah blah. That like Uncle Tom Coon. That is just the embodiment of Uncle Ruckus. When I think about those words, that's what I see.
Well, I mean, the Uncle Ruckus. I don't know much about that,
You don't know about the
but I
Boondocks?
know. Well,
You talking about history. You talking about history. You don't know about one of the best shows for us. Okay, okay.
but this just what I'm saying. The backstory of Uncle Ruckus. When I'm saying with Uncle Tom, I know the backstory on that, and it's not like what is being portrayed. You know, Sambo is the true representation of the quote unquote today's representation of Uncle Tom, Sambo, and it's all based on a fictional story, but with some truth about a man named Joshua Henson. And but the book Uncle Tom's Cabin was based on that, but it's a fiction. It's a fiction.
Yeah.
But Uncle Tom wasn't portrayed in that way. Sambo is the one that everybody referenced and use Uncle Tom as the one they want to say was like that. You see movies and all that stuff as well. But the thing is, when you talk about the divide and the understanding of when it's color and how that color lightness of skin. And this is all internal. This is not external. This is not something that another group is doing. This is internal between the shades of skin. You got a group of people that we have Caucasians who go out and get tans, get the Botox, butt lifts, all that stuff to look like us. We're the only group of people who don't want to be this color. What I'm saying is they're tanning to look like us, but we don't love who we are.
I hear you. I mean, I really couldn't. 'Cause I mean, it's. I don't know. I think it's skirting the line between
What?
the black and Hispanic culture. I think it's those two because they're naturally.
It's even in the Hispanic culture color because you
But
go to Puerto
what
Rico, there's people darker than me in Puerto Rico, but they're Puerto Rican.
mm,
But if there's a disparity between the two, if you're lighter, you look
no,
upon differently than if you're darker.
what I'm saying is the whole tanning
Mhm.
thing. That's all I'm getting at.
Okay.
Is that
Okay.
it may be one of those two. I don't know for sure. Maybe because, like I said, this is one of those things where it's changed so much. I don't really see it that often, but
Mhm.
because I see more of us in the Hispanic culture, like kind of like overlapping as far as the looks. I mean, granted, there's distinctive differences between the two, but when you're saying people would tan, I'm like, okay, they're tanning to look
Mhm.
as like caramel.
Darker.
Caramel color. And I'm like, caramel color. Okay, that's, a particular shade of African American, also a particular shade of Hispanic people. So I was like, I don't know which one they're necessarily going for, but I know it's one of those two. And either way, they're both minorities. But I understand, I understand, like, I understand what they're trying to do. But I mean, it's if, like I said, if this was 15 years ago, I would have so much more input on this. It's just a really,
But what was your opinion 15 years ago?
I mean, there was more of it. Like you could tell,
Okay.
you could tell it was blatant, like blatant, like house versus field. That it's people getting special privileges now. I don't see it as much. Maybe it's because I don't really care as much.
Mhm.
Maybe that's what it is, and I'm just not looking at it that way. I'm not going out my way to look for it. Um, but I think a lot of progress has been made as far as trying to
Really?
in certain, depending on where you work, of course.
Mhm.
I think a lot of progress has been made to blend it all together, but now it's becoming more of like us versus them, like workers versus management. So I guess you can look at it like that, as house versus field kind of way, maybe spin it in that kind of direction. Um,
Yeah.
but it's not so much as the light skinned people getting privileges over the darker skinned people, because now it seems like we're all together in this trying to fight the people in power to get more privileges for us in general.
I would see it that there is progress in that way openly,
Mm-hmm.
but I still see a very divide in the fact that people still look at beauty in themselves a certain way, and to the point where they're willing to try to look a certain way to be accepted or consider that as beauty. You know, what about the doll experiment? Do you understand? You know about the doll experiment?
I know about the Barbie thing. I know that was the thing for a while where all
That's
the
right, right,
women,
right. So,
but that was Barbie, and they had a white and a black Barbies. But so that's what I'm saying.
well,
It's just really.
it's another one. I don't know the name of it, but it was you have a black kid, and they were asked which kid is smartest,
Mm-hmm,
and they had different groups, black dolls, white dolls, all together, and they point to the white one. Which one's more beautiful? The white.
mm,
So what I'm saying is this stuff is ingrained. This is from slavery. And what I'm saying is something that needs to be addressed and and accepted in a sense, because if you try to act like it's not there, you're not going to try to fix the problem.
mm-hmm,
There's a problem there. The house versus the field. We need the house and the field need to get together. We need to get together and work it out so that we realize we're all one.
mm-hmm.
So, like I said, the doll experiment, and this is a kid. This is a kid who plays with dolls. So tell me, you have to really think about this, and I'm not going to put it on you because we all this is a collective answer. Where do we realize where you have a child that has grown up in your home that you consider loving and nurturing and caring, and they still look at another group better than they look at themselves? That's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
That's something we need to work on. That's something we need to fix. And you bring up white collar, blue collar
Mm-hmm.
workers, white collar, blue collar workers. It's the same thing. It's the same thing in a sense where it's just not the title. It's deeper than that. This is it's almost like genetically attached, where if you get to a certain point, you forget about everybody else.
Yeah, I mean
I it's like I arrived, forget everybody else.
now that I've seen more frequent than everything else that we've discussed. But there's caveats to that. I mean,
Okay.
there's always pros and cons to that, because if you are brought up around good people, of course you want to bring them up when you make it. But if those people are only there because of you making it and they're trying to ride your coattails and doing XYZ, then I totally get you not wanting to associate yourself with them because you're trying to do something, build something for yourself, or your parents or whatever the case may be. But those people that are riding on your coattails and doing things that they're an extension of you, and so whatever they do, the people are going to look back on you and be like, well, who are these people and why are they here, this that, but you're not like that. And so it's you're being brought down because of what their actions are doing in the world or whatnot. So I mean, it's two sides for that specific instance, as far as like making it and leaving other people behind. There's two sides to that. Excuse me. There's two sides to that, and I get both sides. So it's just a matter of that person like being true to themselves and not forgetting where they come from, but also recognizing the people who are with them. Like the people that were with you day one should be the same people that are there when you make it. If that makes sense. You shouldn't be picking up people along the way, because those people that you pick up along the way are the ones that are going to mess up what you got. Usually, now I say this, usually the people that are day ones.
Not all.
Yeah,
Everything we're saying is not everyone. It's
exactly.
not right. No absolutes.
Right.
It's
You usually your day ones know who you are. You know, they're not going to sit there and say, "Oh, you changed this, that, and the third." But it's the ones that were trying to ride your coattails or didn't know you'd be like, "Oh yeah, you've changed." It's like, no, I've been the same person. I just happened to find my success and wanted to better my life for my friends and family. So people, hold on to grudges like that for whatever reason, because they're stuck in their ways. But, but
and that very true. And the thing is, with that, just with what you're saying, those same people can drag you down.
right.
I see it in the professional realm where these guys, you know, in sports, they make it to a certain level. They want to bring everybody in, entertainment. They want to bring everybody in, and these are the same people who drag you down. But that doesn't come from out of the air. It's just not like people trying. They don't even know what they're doing. A lot of times they don't even know what they're doing.
Right.
It's just it's a, when you have a group of people who've been traumatized for years, don't think that that doesn't pass on from generation to generation. That passes on. That passes on. You think you can just say, "Oh, okay, I'm doing better, and now everything's going to be okay across the board." That everybody else should know what I'm doing, and everything. No, it's a group of people who still didn't get the message. Not making excuses.
Mm-hmm.
There's no excuse for it, but you can't deny the fact that being traumatized for so many years and stuff being ingrained into your life from generations that's going to change overnight. But the process of change should be occurring definitely by now. But but I haven't seen a significant change in that. We still fall short where we can get. You have to distance yourself from people, because when you don't see them do that, they get dragged down, shot, killed, or imprisoned. And to your point, that's why people feel they have to distance themselves from people because of that.
Right. Right. And I mean, I think the most recent example was I think Migos. One of the people from Migos got shot because he was at a game dice game, and it's just like, well, what are you doing? So
What are we doing? What are we doing?
right. So it's just one of those things where you have to be mindful and of where you're at status wise, who you're with, and where you're going, so
Right.
that way you avoid those situations. And as far as the teaching, that goes back to, I think, one of the podcasts we talked about a while ago, where it starts with the parents teaching their kids. No.
Absolutely.
So
Both parents,
yeah, but I mean, if the parent,
not just one.
if the both parent, we can't have an ideal situation, because we know that's not the case. So it comes down
But
to the
that's what we need to be working on, because what we're doing now is not working.
right.
Single parents is single moms
I
is
hear you.
not working.
I hear you, but if that's
Okay.
the case, then you just might as well just put a chip in everybody's neck and just mind control them to do X, Y, and Z, because that's you're talking about an ideal society. And that's not the case here. Everybody has their own free will to make decisions or incorrect decisions they want to do in life, and this, that, and third. So
So the kids should suffer.
the kids aren't going to suffer if the parent knows how to teach them correctly or get them the right teachings or show them the right things so they can learn. I mean, you could be a single parent and still teach your kids the right way to do things.
Absolutely. I'm not saying being a single parent
Mm.
is is a lost cause, but what I'm saying is if the father is there, why not?
That's something
A
for
lot
that's
of
something
times,
we know
yeah,
why, but
yeah, that's right,
that's
that's
something
right,
for
that's
another
right, right,
that's
that's
something
right.
for another episode. We know why.
Okay.
But as far as the leaving, I guess is you changing a change of scenery. Let's just put it like that. Um, a lot of people hold that like really close to their chest when they see people like betraying their culture, I guess would be the right thing. Like if it's a black guy marrying somebody outside the race or whatever the case may be, or I don't really, to be honest with you, I hear it more so for the males than I do for the females. Um, but it's still the same thing. A lot of people hold that to heart, and it's just very interesting how that comes about,
See that?
huh?
How how you see that somebody will hold that against you outside your race?
No. I'm saying
You
that
know,
people like people in our culture will be like,
mhm.
oh, this person's sell out, this, that, and the third. He married
Oh,
someone
sell
that,
out,
yeah,
the
that's what I'm saying.
sellout
Yeah,
concept.
yeah. Um, and I was just like, I mean, why isn't there someone? Why isn't there one of us in that bracket to for him to get to know? Or maybe there was somebody in that bracket that he tried to get to know, and you know they showed their true colors. I mean, we just don't know. But a lot of times when you go up to those next tier, there's less and less of us there, so you don't have that many options to choose from, and so you end up marrying outside your race, but then you get called a sellout. So it's just like, well, we have to do better as a group to try to push more people into those brackets. If you're trying to, you know, if you're trying to be pro black and all these other things, you have to push these other people into these brackets so that way there's more of us in different brackets. So you're not you don't you have more of a selection.
Yeah. To add to your your analysis of it, when I what I see is, do black women mothers teach their black daughters how to be black wives? And I know former podcaster Kevin Samuels used to harp on that, and it was true. Do do you know how to be a wife, a good wife? Do you know that role? Listen, it's a lot of black men out here want to marry their own, but it's too combative. It is a lot that comes along with dealing with your own because of how they were brought up. And that's why I think there needs to be a shift in, not saying totally that, and I'm not saying all mothers, but when you got, let's say we try mothers being the only parent. Why not just make it the father now? Let fathers take on the responsibility of the kid, and see how that works out. Yeah, people probably say, "Oh no, I don't want to hear that." That's, and when when you hear, a lot of women, and I've heard this more than once personally. This is my kid. No, but the when it comes financially, it's our kid. But when it's talking about relationship wise, building relationship, it's your kid. So to which I understand, I would prefer that everybody stay within. Black woman, good black man, find a good black woman. Absolutely. A good white man, find a good white woman. Good Hispanic woman, find a good Hispanic woman. And I know they wish that for themselves as well. But when it's not there, should a man be shackled to a race that doesn't respect them, doesn't appreciate them like they should? No, absolutely not.
Hmm. Well, I mean,
I mean,
that 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 may be something we can delve into for another.
but I'm just it's time to be real. It's time to stop, sugarcoating stuff.
No, I
It's
got
time to
you.
be real and let people know. Look, if you want to know the truth, here's the truth. Let's
Right,
deal with it. Let's work it out.
right. But I mean, that it kind of ties into the whole sellout mentality. But I think it's more so, like you said, it's more so in our community that I hear that word thrown out a lot more than anything
Absolutely.
else. Um, and I don't think necessarily it's a lack of trust. It's more so that we know we know that we do it to ourselves, essentially. So it's the black on black crime, everything like that. So it's not so much of being a seller. It's just like I know what I'm going to be getting myself into if I stick around with these group of people or these set of people. I mean, I know what's coming down the line. I mean, if you are wise enough to see that, not saying that it's 100% of the 100% of the time, but that is usually the case as to why you see those instances of people not really trying to stay with, not necessarily stay within the race, but bring up other people in their race or things of that nature, because you already know what you're getting yourself into. A lot of people don't know how to act when they well, a lot of people don't know how to act when they get money. That's first and foremost. And a lot of people don't know how to act when they get money, especially us. So a lot, and I want to harp on this a
I'm
lot.
listening. I'm
I want
waiting.
to
No,
harp.
you harp on it. You harp on it because that's a major point. Go ahead.
No, what I'm
Let's
just
do
gonna
this.
say is, and this is a show that I watch to this day, not religiously, but I go back and watch it. The Boondocks is
Mhm.
probably the most accurate thing about black culture that you can
Mhm.
get in a show. And I would implore anybody to watch it. Yes, there's going to be some moments when it's funny, but there's a lot of stuff that is very accurate especially with what we're talking about today. Um, and so that was my whole spiel on that. But yeah, that's just how I see it as far as the sellout, the whole sellout label or
So sellout.
mentality.
Usually, I see sellout when they talk about relationship when uh interracial
Well, yeah,
relationship.
I hear
That's
that
what
too.
I hear. I never usually hear it about money or
Well,
looking
no,
down on
I
somebody.
hear it when somebody's like made it out the hood, but they don't like. Let's say if you came
It's
from
only when you're
Queens.
married. That's usually what I hear.
Yeah, I mean, I hear
I
that
date.
as
I
well.
date.
Right, I hear that as well. But I'm saying, like, if you made it out, let's say Queens, and now you're living in Los Angeles, but they're like, "Where are you from?" And then you say like, "Oh yeah, I was raised." You don't acknowledge
Where
that
you came from.
exactly. You don't
Okay.
acknowledge that some of that may be factual, like, oh, I was born here, but you don't say like, yeah, I was raised in Queens, because then that throws a whole nother perception for a lot of people that are already looking at you.
I got you. I
And
got
then people are like, oh, well, he didn't want to recognize us. So I knew him when he was here and this, that, and the third, and now he's so that's what I think about when I hear the word sellout. But that what you stated is also another version of it, I would say.
you.
But
That's right.
that's the
That's
most
the
common one.
common version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the more common ones, but I do hear some of the ones where people are like, "Oh yeah, he used to live here, but he forgot his roots and this, that, and the third." And I was like, I mean, sometimes I can get what he's saying because look at you, like look at how you're looking right now. With you're not looking, you're not putting your best foot forward. So I can kind of understand where he's coming from, but at the same time, it's like you always got to know where you come from because that's how you forget.
Absolutely,
That's how you forget who you are if you don't remember where you came from. Um,
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I'm from. Well, I was born one place and I grew up another.
right,
So yeah, I'm not ashamed of it. That's where I came from. That's it. But it doesn't matter if I'm a multi-millionaire. It's the facts.
right.
Especially, based on you, technology, quote unquote, air quotes, technology, you can find out
Oh yeah,
everything
you
you want
can.
to.
Yeah, that's why
You can't hide it.
there's no point in like trying to this
That's
like
right.
anybody can find out something about you in probably what 5 to 15 minutes if they did enough work.
Absolutely.
They can find everything they wanted to
Absolutely.
know about you. So there is no point in trying to hide where you came from or who you hung out with, and so it's just really interesting to me when people go that route to be like, oh yeah, I was born here, or yeah, I was born here, but I never lived there, even though they lived there for like 6, 7 years. They're like, yeah, I was born here, but this is where I was raised, and this is like, okay, um, and
Unless they try to get credit, street credit.
yeah,
Street credit.
that's another
That's right.
example,
That's
and then
right.
it's just like this man lying. He's never.
Go through that street, and now you live there for about a week. No, but still, all good. Okay, what I got another thing. Like, say, do you think African Americans trust each other because of the house versus the field?
No, like I said earlier, I think that's more so of we do it to each other. It's not so much house versus field. It's more so I'm gonna hurt you because you hurt me, like, or whatever the case may be. Like I'm coming after you because of what you have that I don't have, or something like that. That's usually how
So
it
so
goes.
what we look at when you see people who do something good, and then you got somebody they're doing something great. They got to pass. Everybody got to pass. And they're doing something great, and then that one person was going to bring something negative to knock them down because of.
Because they're a hater. Like a lot of people just get enjoyment out of bringing other people's down. Let's not forget about that. There are a lot of people in our community that get enjoyment out of bringing others down. Let's call a spade a spade. And so that's why it's not a
Is
house
that
versus.
house field?
I don't think it's a
House
house.
field?
I don't think it's a house or field thing because I don't think they look at the skin color of the person and be like, oh yeah, that person.
Well, yeah. But hold on, they're the first one to say if somebody else did it, if somebody else did the same thing they did,
Mhm.
they'll have a problem with it because they'll say, "Oh, that person's trying to bring this person down." But when it's in house, what is it?
When it's
Same
in,
thing.
yeah,
It what they'll say you get same ethnic background. When they do it, oh, they didn't care about you until you made it.
right.
They didn't have anything to say. And then all of a sudden you make it. Now the vultures. Now they're gonna put all this stuff out about you.
I mean, I
Now
guess
you
I don't really look at that as a house versus field thing because I never really considered a house person as making it because you're still subject to a lot of things that are
it's a modern day house and it's a modern day field.
once again, I don't I don't see it that way. I see it as you're just being it's not because I mean when the way that it was presented, it was just like it's a skin color thing usually when it's a house versus field,
Mhm.
and so
That's
when
right.
it happens modern day, it's normally not a skin color thing. It's a matter of you made it, I didn't. I don't care what your skin color is. You have money. I don't. I'm coming after you. So I guess if you want to put it that way, You can say it's a
but it's
modern
a
day.
modern day.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. I
it's a
guess
modern day. That's right.
if you want to put it that way, but I don't see it like that. I see it as more like this person's
Back
made
in the
it.
day, it was skin tone,
Yeah.
and it's still skin tone today too, as well, because the industry, a lot of people making money on that industry based on that fact
Hmm.
or skin tone. So, but there's other facets of it as well, like you were just mentioning,
And it's just like this
where
person has money.
somebody,
I don't have it. I'm just going to hate
Mhm,
on him and try to bring him down. So we're all in the
right,
same. So
absolutely.
it doesn't really, that's how I look at it. It's not, like I said, if you want to look at it that way, you can. Everybody is entitled to their opinion.
How you look at it?
I look at it as the person, like I said, person's being a hater. They want to see everybody else suffer around them. Like they want to pull everybody else down into the crab
But
barrel.
they're not going to another group to do that. They're doing it to the group inside.
That's what I'm saying. That's what goes back to what I was saying about us, like not trusting each other because we do it to ourselves. So we're all in the crab barrel. One person's trying to make it out. The other person's like, nah, come back down here and pulls them back into the crab barrel. So we're all sitting here on the same level. That's what I mean as far as
So
the
you don't
house.
see that as a house feel.
I don't see it as a house fit. I see it as them trying to just keep everybody in the same, like them trying to keep everybody in the same spot. They don't want anybody else to be above them or make it or whatever the case may be. Because I mean, when I
Well,
think of that house thing, I just see skin tone, and I don't know. It's just a skin
yeah,
tone
yeah,
thing when I
yeah.
think of house and
Well,
field.
no, no, but it's deeper than that.
Right.
It's a mindset. It's an attitude. It's a it, it, the thing about it is not the light skin. It's nothing wrong. You can't control who you are. You know, you were
Right.
born a certain way. You don't have no control over that. But what I'm saying is, light skinned people, when you let's say, okay, you're born, got a lighter complexion, and you're told you're beautiful. You're darker complexion, and you're told you're ugly. You got good structure, but if you were lighter, you would be beautiful. But because you're not, in other words, you say you're ugly.
Hmm. I mean, I like I said, times
What
have
what
changed.
what what? No, no. What effect does? And this goes on today.
No, I
You know,
get you, but
I can see somebody in the grocery store and
mhm.
see a newborn, you know, and say, "Oh, it's so cute," when it's light, and then when they see a dark skinned baby, oh, okay,
See,
oh, thanks, look at that good.
I
You're
I hear what you're
pay
saying.
attention,
I hear
pay
what you're
attention.
saying, but like I said, this may be a generational thing. I don't really hear that as often. I hear more
Really?
so. I listen. I hear when you say light skinned person is beautiful. I hear, oh yeah, they're light skinned and beautiful. I also hear, and this is more so for the ladies. Oh, that's a
Mhm.
beautiful dark blah 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 man, and I'm like, okay. So I hear both sides. There's not one or the other. I hear from both sides.
All right,
so
right, right.
so that's what I'm saying. It's like I don't hear it as often. It's like, oh, they're beautiful, they're light skinned. Because when you were saying like a dark skinned dude, that's like I hear so many women be like, oh, that's a well, whatever the women do to talk about the dark skinned brothers that
Right,
are out there and everything like that.
right, right.
So I don't really hear it as often. As maybe other than well, I don't hear it as often compared to maybe how often you hear it. But um,
I
I
would
understand
hope
what you're saying.
you are right. I hope that we're getting to that point
Hmm.
because it's sad if we're not. If we're not progressing past that, then we're further behind than I would like us to be as a people.
Hmm.
We got to learn to love yourself. You got to learn to love who you are. And until you do that, we can't grow.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, that's just point blank. House, feel, uh, ground, air, atmosphere, stratosphere, or whatever. If you don't love who you are, then what are we doing?
Mm.
What are we doing?
like I said, I don't know, but
You're
there's
the next generation.
yeah,
We
and my
we carry
generation,
on you.
my generation seems to be doing a lot better compared to your generation.
Oh no, you're
as
not
far
doing
as as
that.
far as that house versus field stuff, yeah, I think we
Oh,
are.
okay,
On the
okay.
we're staying on topic.
We'll see.
Staying on topic.
We'll
As far
see.
as what you're talking
We'll
about,
see.
I think my generation is doing a lot better than yours. Uh, like
We'll see.
don't get me wrong, there's outliers here or there, but like I said, I hear equal beauty for both skin tones, probably more so than you would might hear, because there's people on Instagram. I'll poll half the people I know on Discord and be like, hey, do you think this dark
So
skin
why is $1 billion industry on bleaching?
what now?
$1 billion industry on people trying to bleach themselves.
People are weird. I mean, people are weird. What else you want me to say? People like weird stuff. They like to do weird stuff. I don't know
Okay,
why they want to
I'm
bleach
just saying.
themselves, but what I'm saying is I can go poll the people in one of the discords I hang out in and be like, "Hey, do you
Mhm.
think this person's attractive? Dark skin young lady." Be like, "Hell yeah."
Okay.
This, that, and what guys say,
Well,
this, that,
I
and the
hope
third.
you're right. I
So
hope you're right. I hope you're right because then that's a level we're a threshold that we're overcoming. Because believe me, you're beautiful, you're handsome, whatever skin tone you are, and don't let the color of your skin dictate that beauty. Absolutely not. Or your worth.
yeah, and you say I don't understand that last bullet point, but we why still think I mean the terminology is still why do we think the terminology is still present? The terminology is still present because it keeps getting brought up in media and or movies and or this discussion here. Uh, so
I'm gonna tell you why. I know
I
why.
mean you can't say that's not part of the reason. It may not be the main reason, but anything that's I understand they're trying to reteach culture, reteach things how things used to be so you don't forget your roots, everything like that. But that's that terminology is still going to be around because those things are still being brought up. And I understand it and it's very valid. Don't get me
Okay.
wrong. I understand it, it's valid. It has to be
Okay.
done because you can't forget about where your roots. So that's something that's not going to go away. So that's still going to be there, unfortunately, until the end of time, until everybody, until everybody is, of mixed race or something like that, I
I
guess.
just
Or
want the numbers to go down, not up,
mm-hmm,
not down. And you have to realize that traumatic uh, things in life, which slavery was one of them.
mm-hmm,
I mean, absolute slavery was the biggest one of the biggest ones, where that it's been studied that that can be genetically passed on to other generations. And if they want to study a group of people, they're studying it on animals to kind of verify that. But if you want to study a group of people that has worked on, the black slavery has definitely can be can prove the fact that that traumatic uh time, that period, 200, 400, 200 years, 400 years of slavery, it's still no, well, it's pretty much a mental slavery even to this day. It's genetically passed. And that's why when I said if you see a change in your generation, then I'm saying maybe we're going in the right direction.
mm-hmm.
But when I hear there's $1 billion industry on bleaching and things like that, and where the color of your skin dictates how your beauty, if you're beautiful or not, then I have to question that,
Right.
even to today.
Right. And like I said, I don't see it maybe as often as you might see it because I see equal opportunity for anyone
Oh,
regardless
I
of.
see it. You go up to it. I do see it. I
So
do see that.
it's not like I'm seeing somebody getting graded. Oh, they're ugly because their skin tone or whatever. I see plenty of beautiful looking people all the time, like, and their skin is darker than mine. Their skin may be lighter than mine, and
Right,
they're
right.
still attractive regardless of how you look at it. So,
That's how I try to see people.
right.
Absolutely.
um, and so like I said, to go on to your bleaching thing, it sounds like I don't know anybody
And this
here.
is worldwide now. This is
And
not just
I hear
it's
you,
local.
but
Okay.
that sounds like that's more of a like I don't hear it here. I haven't heard anybody going for bleaching or anything like. I've heard people having the skin condition where their skin gets lighter. Um, but I've never heard of anyone going in to actually get their skin bleached, and I think that might just me talking. That's like that might be an African thing, like, where because they a lot of places over there aren't up to speed of where they should be as far as like technology and healthcare and everything like that. Um, and so they're still in that old world mentality. And I think once they get brought up to speed, I think that industry will go down a little bit. A little bit. I don't because you
I
said it's
would hope
worldwide.
so.
It's worldwide, and
It's worldwide. It's
I think the
worldwide.
majority of it is in that area. Just that, but that's just me thinking because I don't hear it over here. I don't hear anything like that over here. If
I don't
anything,
hear it over here.
I hear
I
like
don't hear it over here as much.
I hear the plastic surgery and everything like that. And that's not really I mean that's everybody. Everybody's trying to
Yeah,
go.
that's right. But it doesn't matter what color your skin, what tone it is. It's everything. It's just searching for beauty or youth,
Yeah.
whatever. So
So why I don't know. This would be something you can answer, old man, because you're from that era. As far as the hostility between the house and the field, um, because apparently the field was on call or something like that. I don't know how it worked back then. Maybe you can enlighten me. Uh, I
no,
just
no, it's and like I said before, it's like privilege and being privileged.
mm,
You know, if you feel someone is getting favor, and which is usually the feel someone is, the house is getting favor, you, you'll have some animosity towards that. And then you got the house who feels I'm privileged, which I get favor, I'm better than you.
mm,
So you see the opposites, right? You
right.
know, right. You think you're better than me, but we're still the same. When it boils down to it, we're still the same. But you get privilege, and now you think you're better than
So with this, I just thought about a movie reference. Would this
Mhm.
apply? You remember Life, the movie
Life.
Life?
Yeah,
Yeah, of
that's
course
life.
you should know Life. When they end up going to the
To the house, to the
yeah, to
house.
the house, and
Yeah,
he's like, "Oh,
right.
field boy, like cut these." I think is that what you're referring to? I just thought
Kind of like that.
I just thought
Absolutely.
about that but then I was like, they're both the same skin tone, so it kind of like,
He's in the
yeah,
house.
yeah.
You
And
just to
so
drive him
yeah,
around,
right, right,
all that.
right, right.
Totally different.
Right. So that's I just thought about that. So I guess that is well, it's not really modern, but I there's a perfect example of it for you for the people out there listening. Um but at the end, I mean, I don't think it was more so the fact that he I don't know. I don't know why he got I forget why he got the I mean, they both got brought over there. They both were living in the
Right?
house, right? It's
That's
just
right.
one was
That's
doing
right.
like the lawn work or
Yard
whatever.
work.
Yeah.
Right. That's right.
And I want to say Martin Lawrence's character was more so
Less
brought in
aggressive.
was less aggressive and he could read. I think
Yeah,
was he was able to
that's
read. I think that was why he was inside the house more. I don't know the specifics. I have to go back and watch the movie again. But yeah, I understand your point about the house versus the field. And I just remember
that's right.
that specific scene where he's like, "Oh, houseboy!" like he walked outside and said something to Eddie Murphy, and then Eddie Murphy was like, "I'm gonna cut you." like he took the scissors and said, "I'm gonna cut you." So I get it. I understand. I mean, it could go both ways, but I understand what you're saying. It was just that movie. I just thought about that movie
And,
had
and,
that
and
specific
that's
scene.
how it was.
Hmm.
That's how. That's just jokingly.
Right.
It was a comedy, but think about it in real life. And the seriousness of it, and the disdain that that person, you know, he was saying it jokingly,
Right.
but think about that mentality seriously, looking at somebody outside, and then look at the disdain that somebody had looking at the person in the house.
Right.
And
And
the only reason, and this was based on
right.
this,
But I think well, it was pretty much a
a lot
two-way
of time.
street. A two-way street though, right? Because I mean, weren't the people in the house like they had to do stuff like they were basically on call 24/7, whereas the people in the field they actually get to go to sleep and whatever else. I don't really know the specifics. I'm not from that era.
Okay.
Um, but I mean, I figured that would be the
You
case.
ever,
The
you
people,
ever heard of sun up to sundown?
yeah,
Scraps? You ever heard of chitlins?
yes,
Okay, that that came from slavery, where you eat ribs and chopped pork, and the person gets the guts.
no, no, no. I hear
The
you. I
the
hear you on
field
that.
gets
No, I hear you on that.
so
But what I'm saying is, as far as like the work, the privileges or whatever, because the people in the house they're on call 24/7, so they don't really get a chance to sleep, right? Whereas the people in the field, they work, yeah, they work sun up to sundown, but they also get to rest or whatever.
they have to because they got to work the
I
next
know, but
day.
but what I'm saying
4
is they
days a
don't they
week.
don't have any interruptions. Whereas somebody in the house, they may be woken up at 2 o'clock in the morning and then be work. I don't know how it worked back then.
I,
I'm
I
just
get I
thinking
get
I'm thinking off my logic. Like, okay, if somebody's in the house 20 and they're on call 24/7, they're not going to have the same downtime as somebody working in the field sun up to sundown. Yes, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Okay, fine, whatever. But after 6 p.m., I have 12 hours to rest or whatever the case may be. Yes, they might not have been able to rest for 12 hours. I understand that, but they had some of those privileges where they're not sitting there being woken up to do things or have relations with the master or whatever the case may be in the house. So I mean, it was a two-way street. Yeah, they can look at it this way, but then they also look, man, I would love to go out there and work sun up to sundown and not be
I don't believe that.
I'm sure there's probably some one-offs that said that. I'm sure there's probably some one-offs that said that.
Because you think about it, you work from sun up to sundown. You could be punished for not producing a certain amount of
Mm.
produce.
Uh-huh.
Um,
And
and another
you can be punished for for just
and the elements.
mm,
You're living. You got a structure, if you're lucky,
mm,
on a mud base floor.
right. But
You don't have AC. You don't have the comfort.
what I'm saying is
You
depending
don't
on
have the
who mhm,
winter, summer, spring,
right.
fall. All those you have to deal with it.
I understand that. But
I,
if you have a slave owner who is a menace to society, 24 you're on call 24/7, he's a menace to society, you may be getting your you may be getting your butt beat 24/7, whereas you actually get some reprieve being outside. Yes, you have to face the elements, so it's like pick your own, pick your own, choose your choose your own
you
adventure.
know, right? You're a very valid point. So why do you think you're better than anyone else?
That I don't know.
But you understand what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Absolutely. You got a valid point. So, but that was what happened. And that's what's still going on to this day.
yeah.
That the color of your skin determines your beauty and your worth.
Yeah, I don't know. Overall, I think personally, I think it's a stupid concept, but that's just me.
Absolutely.
I know some people. Well, I mean, I hear you. I hear you. I understand what you're saying. I understand your gripes. I think the concept in general is dumb. The concept in general is dumb. Yes, yes, we can make fun of each other, everything like that. I
Right.
understand. There's been plenty of times where I hear the light skin jokes, I hear the dark skin jokes. They're funny. They're funny. They're absolutely hilarious.
I
Uh,
haven't heard of that, but I'm pretty sure they are. I'm pretty.
yes, but it's just they just get over yourself. Like at the end of the day, just realize what situation. Just I know it's gonna be hard to do better, but just do better. That's all I
Right,
can say.
right. We got to love ourselves and respect each other. You know, it doesn't matter what shade you are. Just love who you are
Right.
and love people for who they are. They can't control the color of their skin. It's all about they got control over their character and how they do things and what they do and how they handle situations, being respectful of others. But the color of their skin is something they have no. Well, they trying to have control over with the bleaching
But
and
it's
stuff.
not. It's not a good look. But
Really,
it's not. You just look like an alien at the point.
that's right.
But yeah, I think that was. I think that was. I think that we pretty much touched on everything.
Yeah, I agree.
I wanted to. Well, I wanted to say thank you to everybody who watched the tax video last week. Greatly appreciated.
Absolutely.
Um, I don't remember what we have. We have a couple of things coming up, so forgive me if I don't remember everything. But there's a lot of stuff in the pipeline, so
He's getting old. He's getting old now.
it's not getting old. There's a lot of things I have to do on my end. Uh, whereas you get to sit there with your dirty milk chin strap, and just be like, yeah. But anyway, thank you everybody, and thank you everybody for listening to this podcast episode. Really appreciate it. Jay, is there anything you want to say to the people before we head out of here?
No, see you next week.
All righty. Well, we're out of here, everybody. See you next week. Take care.
Take
Peace.
care.